Hey everyone, it's Hydro Pump here. Recently, I played in a 2014 hat format tournament that took place online. This was the tournament series called the Mortal Attack Monthly, and I believe there was like 60 or 70 players in this, so they get like a pretty decent turnout. And I again managed to make top 8 in this tournament with pure Koa'ki Meirus. Yes, pure Koa'ki Meirus. There's like a Fire Fist Koa'ki Meiru, but this one is just like going all the way with the regular Koa'ki Meiru cards, and it's a pretty cool deck. I don't think anyone else has topped with it before in this format, and this is really my first tournament playing it with this deck. So there's definitely things that could be changed, and but yeah, it was a fun experience overall. I could have made it a little further, but I can probably save that in a like a replay analysis. But I definitely could have made at least top 4, and who knows what happens after that. But yeah, made a little couple mistakes in top 8 that cost me, but overall deck performed really well. And I just wanted to show it off to you guys, so we're gonna jump right into the deck profile.
So I'm trying a new camera setup for these deck profiles. So if you enjoy the way this deck profile looks, let me know in the comments. Anyway, start on the deck profile. We have 3 Koa'ki Urnite. Now Urnite's kind of like the go-to guy in your deck. He's what makes OTKing so easy, and just at worst, he just makes a rank 4, which is pretty strong, and he's a huge body. So if you don't know what Koa'ki Urnite does, you reveal an Iron Core from your hand, and then you get to special summon a level 4 or lower Koa'ki from your deck. So you get to put like 2 really big bodies on the field, which again helps OTK. So yeah, 3 Urnite kind of revolves around the whole deck. You want to be summoning him as using his effect ASAP. Then we play 3 Koa'ki Crusader. This guy is just another Beast Warrior for Urnite. He's pretty good too for just recycling things. If he runs over a monster, you get to add a Koa'ki card from your grave to your hand, which came up a couple times in the tournament. So yeah, he's a good support monster. Now, what most Koa'ki decks don't play is Koa'ki Drago. Now, Drago is pretty strong, and I play 3 of it, obviously. But this guy is just really good for just shutting off like opponent's decks. Like Infernity, Bujins, shuts down the Artifact Engine, which is really strong against Hat, and various other things. Opponent can't make Exciton Knight when this is up, so that's pretty strong. They have to go to like another rank 4. So yeah, he's just really good for OTKing and just locking your opponents out of those cards, and it's just another beater. And then we play 3 Koa'ki Maximus. Most of you probably don't know what this guy does, but he's just like a boss monster essentially of the deck. But you banish a Iron Core from your hand to special summon Maximus, and then when he's on the field, he can pop a card on your opponent's side of the field, and he can still attack, which is really good. So what you're really trying to do with this deck is just like summon Urnite, get an Urnite effect, and you're summoning like another guy, and then you summon Maximus, and that's just like a ton of damage right there. And it usually ends up being OTK. And then Maximus is also a dragon for Drago reveal, so you just have more dragons for Drago, which is really nice. So yeah, Maximus is great, definitely helped OTK several times. Then we play 1 Koa'ki Ice. This guy was pretty good. Pretty much you can discard a card to pop a special summon monster your opponent's side of the field. It's not a once per turn effect, which is really good. And it's also a water monster, which is really underrated just for making Abyss Dweller. So you can go Urnite, summon Ice, make Dweller, run over a hand, or your opponent can't really use their ignition to pop their own artifacts. It's obviously good against Marmel. So there's like a lot of things in the format where Abyss Dweller is really good, and you just make a huge Abyss Dweller because the ice is at 2200. So you just get a really big Abyss Dweller, which is hard for decks to deal with. And for our final monster, we have 3 Tour Guide from the Underworld. Tour Guide is kind of doesn't really fit in this deck as far as it's not obviously not a Koa'ki Meiru monster, but Tour Guide can make MXA your Invoker, and Invoker can special summon Knight from your deck. So Tour Guide is really good just to get into your Knight plays. Now the only target is itself, which was awkward a couple times because I opened 2 Tour Guides a couple times and it's just a little awkward. I'll get to that when I get to the extra deck, but you can also play Koa'ki Meiru Doom as just a level 3 Fiend. This effect isn't really too relevant, but he's just another target, so it's not really that bad. So that's probably the best 4th target to play if you play one. On to the spells. We play 3 Iron Core Koa'ki Meiru. Yep, so this card essentially does nothing, but you need this card for your deck to play to get your Knight effect, or to summon your Maximus. You need an Iron Core in your hand, so just kind of like a necessary evil. The regular like Koa'ki Meiru Fire Fist deck only plays like 2 of these, but our whole engine revolves around Koa'ki Meiru, so we're obviously playing 3. And the best card of the deck is Diamond Core of Koa'ki Meiru. Now this is a relatively new card, newer compared to the rest of these back in hat format. But pretty much is a rotive for any Koa'ki Meiru card. So any of your monsters, and you can also add Iron Core. So that's really strong. And then you can also banish this from your grave. And for the rest of the turn, Koa'ki Meiru monsters cannot be destroyed. So that is a really strong thing. This deck kind of like counters something like Hat really well, because you know they search Bottomless Trap Hole, so you just Diamond Core, get whatever you need, banish this, summon Knight, and then Knight can special summon whatever, like Crusader for example, and then these guys can't be destroyed. And if you summon Maximus also, like they can't destroy any of these guys, and essentially all their cards destroy. You have the artifacts that destroy, you have the hands that destroy, you have Bottomless Trap Hold that destroys, so it really shuts down a lot of their deck when you're resolving Diamond Core. So it's kind of like an anti-hat deck, all things considered, and this helps you play through back row really well, and it saves your Koa'ki Meiru from blowing themselves up at the end phase. So that's really strong. You don't have to reveal, you can just be like, okay, I'm just gonna stick it on the field and you have to deal with it next turn. So yeah, Diamond Core is like, if you're seeing this card, you're probably just gonna win. And everyone's favorite card, not really, is 3 Core Transport Unit. Everyone likes to meme on this card. I personally like it. Pretty much it's just a continuous spell, and you ditch a card from your hand to add a Iron Core of Koa'ki Meiru from your deck to your hand. So you're essentially playing 9 Iron Cores. You have 3 regular Iron Core, 3 Diamond Core, and then 3 Transport Unit. So you have a lot of ways to get your Iron Core, which you just want to get to that as soon as possible. That and Knight combination is just kind of like what gets your deck going. So yeah, I always like this card. I think it's just really important to get. You also need this to resolve your Maximus a lot. If you ever want to summon 2 Maximus, you probably need this card involved, just because you have 2 Iron Cores, which came up a couple times. So this card, I mean, I like it. It's just a little awkward against like something like Hat, where they had the artifact ignition, so they can potentially snipe this. But I mean, you're usually okay with discarding cards as long as you're just winning. So yeah, this card's pretty good. And we played 2 Core Compression. I was playing 3 of this, but I wasn't playing the Tour guys before. I was playing more Koa'ki Meiru monsters in its place. So if you have more Koa'ki Meiru monsters, this is probably better. Just because it's essentially Destiny Draw. You have to have Iron Core, Koa'ki Meiru, and then just like any Koa'ki Meiru monster, you ditch the Koa'ki Meiru monster to draw 2 cards. So it's an okay card. I was siding it out quite a bit just because I had less Koa'ki Meiru monsters, and you know, so I still like this card. in a slightly different build, I think this card would be a lot better though. But that can be a potential cut if need be. And then we play 3 Fire Fist, or Fire Formation Tenki. And pretty much this can add your Urnite or Crusader from your deck to your hand. So once again, you have 9 ways to get to your Iron Core. And you have 3 Urnite, 3 Tenki, and then 3 Diamond Core to get to your Urnite. And you also have Tour Guide. So you essentially have 12 ways to get to your Urnite, which is very strong, super consistent. You just get your deck rolling as soon as possible. So yeah, Tenki's really good. Again, it's a little awkward just with the ignition thing because they can pop this, but usually you have like plenty of ways, like I said, to get to your Urnite, so it's not really the biggest deal if they pop that. And then some reason I don't have Tensus, but this is 2 Fire Formation Tensu. Now I was playing 1, but there's since playing Tour Guide, you can kind of just like turbo a lot. So if you have like Tour Guide Urnite, you can go Tour Guide and then summon Invoker and then get it Urnite and then Urnite effect. But then you can Tensu to summon your other Urnite or even Crusader really. And this, so it's just like putting this double summon essentially, but you can also get it off Tiger King. So you can, if you had those two, if you had like these 2 in hand, and if you have Tenki or Tensu, like you're gonna be able to get to that line, so it's pretty good. So that's why I played 2 Tensu, just to like make sure I open one of those and I can just fetch the other. So it's pretty good, just helping the OTK. You can potentially play 1 of this. You definitely need at least 1, but I was trying out a second one just to be a little more aggressive. And then play 3 Soul Charge. This card is actually pretty mediocre throughout the tournament. It's great if you go first, just because you can go crazy if you're resolving Urnite. So you can go like Urnite into Lavalval Chain, detach Urnite, send another Urnite, Soul Charge back both Urnites, and you just can make 2 more rank 4s, so that you just kind of swarm the whole field really good. Though I could see maybe even cutting this card. I definitely probably only want to play 1 or 2 at max. It's kind of just like, I feel like it was win more. It's just awkward going second with it, and you just want to make your Urnite plays consistent as possible. So I can definitely see these leaving the deck. But I mean, it's not the worst when you're throwing stuff away with your core transport units and your core compression. So maybe if the deck would focus more on these, or just at least core compression, you just fill in the grave a little more, then Soul Charge would be a little better. But ideally, you just want to focus on OTK as much as possible. You don't really give your opponent turns, and this deck isn't like the absolute best at building a board. It can build a board, but it's not the best. So yeah, Soul Charge is it's good, but I feel like it could probably be replaced. Now we have another card I don't have, is 3 Reckon Power. So essentially, this card is Heavy Storm for like face down spells and traps, and it's a trap card obviously. So all you have to do is like have the set, and then you have Iron Core in your hand. You just flip this, pop all your opponent's set spells and traps, and then they're playing a deck like Hat or Geargia. It's essentially like a blowout. Now people knew I was playing this deck because there's replays in the tournament on Dueling Book that we have to, have for everyone to see. So there's a lot of times I'll just have like 1 set, and they'll just not commit back row. They'll set like a couple, and then just because they're so scared of this card. So yeah, this card's really strong, and especially in half format, just because there's no Heavy Storm, so people are just slamming back rows. For our last cards in the main deck, we played 2 Trap Stun. I can definitely consider playing a 3rd one, just like as long as you're having one of these, the Reckon Power or the Trap Stun. These are your only traps you play as well, so you're just essentially just trying to lock out your opponent's back row so you can go for the OTK play. This deck is really good playing through back row, so I don't know if these are totally necessary. I can definitely see a build where you don't have to play these cards and just again play more like OTK cards or even more engine than what this deck currently is. And these cards are a little awkward going second, just because you're not really setting a lot of cards in your deck, like a lot of back row, so it's pretty obvious that it's gonna be one of these cards that's set, and your opponent's gonna do whatever it takes to get rid of that. I mean, honestly, sometimes I just can't do anything about it. Like, you got it, and then you just blow them out with these cards. I definitely won several games with these cards, but they are, again, a little awkward going second with. Cool. So that was the main deck, and we're gonna go over some cards that I think be potentially look forward to playing. Now, again, I was playing main deck Guardian and main deck Sandman before I added the tour guides. These cards aren't the best. Guardian is obviously probably a little bit better than Sandman. Sandman could play through back row naturally, so that's good. But Guardian is just kind of just like run over a hand. This is obviously better, and like if you have to go into build a board mode, Guardian is better. So maybe this was just better with like Soul Charge when I was playing this. So maybe Soul Charge is worthwhile when you have Guardians, because again you can just like detach Guardian to summon it, or you have all your Urnites, so you can potentially out on a field like double Guardian and your opponent just has to deal with it, or Sandman. So yeah, these guys are really strong in their own rights. I took out these guys for the tour guide, so I can definitely see them being playable, and there's really good cards. I don't know what else to say. And this guy's a little more interesting, is Bergzak. Pretty much uses a warrior, and if he runs over a monster, he gets the BLS effect that he can attack again, which can be really strong in this deck because you can just have Urnite and Bergzak, and then that's just like a ton of damage on the field, just getting a ton of attacks in pretty easily. So I can see maybe potentially playing this guy. And a card I really like is Core Overclock. Now this is essentially like OP. This is like an OP solidarity in a way for Koa'ki Meirus. Pretty much a continuous spell. All Koa'ki Meiru monsters you control gain 500 attack, which is pretty good. That's just like the continuous effect. And once per turn, you can discard during your main phase, you can discard an Iron Core from your hand to the grave, or just discard it, and then you can boost all your Koa'ki Meirus by 1,000 attack. So if you have Urnite and we'll say Bergzak, just because like this would be a really powerful strong combo. So Urnite goes up to 2,500 and Bergzak goes up to 2,500 base stats. And if you Core Overclock, second effect, Urnite goes up to 3,500 and Bergzak goes up to 3,500. So these guys become huge. You have something like Koa'ki Meiru Maximus on the field and the Core Overclock. It's base 35 and goes up to 45. So yeah, this card's honestly kind of crazy just to like make your guys huge, and I like that. So yeah, it's something to consider going forward. And you can also play Forbidden Lance instead of like the Trap Stun and Reckoned Power. I was playing these, but then I just switched my build last minute just to try something out. Lance is pretty good. It's honestly probably better with the tour guides. The problem with tour guide is that it's not a Koa'ki Meiru, so you can't really protect it with your Diamond Core and whatnot. So Lance is pretty good for that. It only works one time, but I like Lance, and you can just get over something that's kind of big, potentially. So yeah, I like Lance. It's pretty good going second card. And something I would definitely play 3 of going forward, most likely, is 3 Upstart Goblin. There was time, like the only times I lost is where I pretty much bricked a game or so, and it was just kind of annoying. So I just want to make the stay consistent as possible. So yeah, 3 Upstart would probably be really good. And I don't know if like the upstart like 1,000 really matter. Probably not most of the time because you can just do so much damage. And so yes, damage is usually a issue. Onto the extra deck, we play one MX Saber Invoker. Again, Invoker summons your Urnite from your deck in defense mode, but you're either gonna make it like a rank 4 or I mean, Urnite just turns into another monster anyway, so pretty strong. Is just more Urnites really. I could potentially play a second one of these. Just so if you go Tour Guide and Invoker, they stop it, then you can try again next turn. But definitely not necessary. So one Invoker is pretty good. And we got one Tiger King. Again, this is really good because you can go like Urnite Crusader, make this guy, and then you can go like Tensu or Tenki and whatnot. So he's just like a pretty good guy to play. Again, you can potentially play a second one, but I don't think it's really necessary. And then we play one Bujin Kagasuchi. This guy's pretty good. He's just a big guy you can make with Crusader and Urnite, and he mills 5. So if you really need to get Diamond Core in the grave for whatever reason, you can potentially mill it. Again, this is a little better with Soul Charge, since you can mill your stuff and then put a bunch of guys in the grave, but yeah, it's still pretty good. And play one Cowboy. Funny enough, there was a turn where I could have won if I played 2 Cowboys, so maybe play 2 Cowboys going forward might be good. Again, this is the OTK deck, and you're just trying to put out as much damage as possible, so normally decks don't play 2 Cowboy, but I can definitely see playing a second one, potentially just to, you can just do a bunch of damage and burn for 1600 at the end phase, and if you're resolving 2 Urnites, it's pretty easy to get 2 Cowboys. And we played 2 Abyss Dwellers. People may find this a little surprising, but I kind of like Abyss Dweller at 2 in the rank 4 spam decks. Just because you can just slam one up there, and then a deck like Hat or Mermel just have to deal with it, and then you can just always drop the second one just to pretty much finish off the game. Like, they probably just lose if you summon the second Dweller, so I like 2 Dweller. I never needed the second one really throughout the tournament. Play one Lavalval Chain. Chain is good for like what I said, the Soul Charge play earlier with the double Urnites, but it's also good for dumping your Diamond Core just to protect your monsters for like a following turn or whatnot, so you can keep just dumping your Diamond Cores from your deck and then protect your guys next turn. So Chain's pretty good for that. And we play one one-on-one. I think I might have made it once or twice, but yeah, just good for stealing guys. One Kara Gorgon. I didn't make this guy. In theory, I thought it would be better, like if I had like Dweller Kara Gorgon set up, and they had like a breakthrough skill in the grave. And this also like makes it so I don't get walled off by Teus, just because Kara Gorgon could just run it over. But never made this guy. He can be probably cut going forward. Again, not really building boards as much as I expected. He's usually just kill their opponents. One Rhapsody and Berserk. Didn't make this guy either, but I can see it being useful if I just need to get something out of the grave resource wise, and also just you can make one of your guys huge. One Black Ship of Corn didn't come up, but yeah, it's pretty good against like something like Bujins or the hands. Just get them off the field, so be nice. And one Lightning and Chidori. You do have the 2, or you can just make this with 2 Koa'ki Dragos. Never came up. You could probably just cut this going forward. Again, its effect's pretty good, but just never got a situation where I had 2 Dragos on the field or needed to make Chidori. And we have Diamond Direwolf. Pretty good. You can just like pop your own like Crusader or Urnite, and then I'm pretty sure you can keep your monster if it's protected by Diamond Core while their card's getting destroyed. So that Diamond Direwolf's pretty good. I just never made it. One Exciton Knight. Again, never made this guy. but he's pretty good in the pinch, obviously. So it's a rank 4 deck. Probably just want to play him. And one Filigrane just for the Maximuses. If you, for some reason, don't kill them and you have 2 Maximus on the field that are just going to get destroyed at the end phase, you can make a Filigrane. This isn't really totally necessary. I never made it. So yeah, you can probably cut this. Now there's some crucial things that in my extra deck that I wasn't playing that I definitely considered, but going forward I might play these. So I probably play Giant Hand going forward, just to there was an awkward time where it's like I needed to stop being Scython Knight, but it's like if I had Giant Hand, I could just like pop this guy in defense mode and they can't excite all night, and then I probably win the game. But so yeah, Giant Hands would probably be put in the deck somehow. And Ragna Zero. Now I didn't think I would play against like any Fire Fist decks. This is obviously pretty good against Boojins, or can be. But yeah, I like this card. It probably would have helped out in the tournament because I played against Fire Fist twice. And you can potentially play Heartland Drago just to cheese, but I don't think it's totally necessary. So it's just like another option. And then you got Engineer and Zen mains. And you also have the Fortune Tune card, which is probably better than both of these. Fortune Tune, you can just make with the 2 tour guides to stall. And then Fortune Tune, when it dies, you can just shuffle your tour guides back. So you technically wouldn't have to play like a 4th target if you open like double tour guide, which was awkward. Pretty much you're just making these just to have something to make with your tour guides if you don't have the Iron Core or Koa'ki in your hand, which definitely happened a couple times in the tournament. So you just have just like random rank 3s you can make in the meantime if you're just trying to find your Iron Core. So Fortune Tune is probably better than Zen mains. So you probably got Fortune Tune and like Engineer as your 2 options that you'd probably want to play. But yeah, Fortune Tune, like when it dies, it shuffles your tour guides back into the deck. So you just have like another target for your next tour guide that's in your hand. And the Engineer can just be sticky sometimes. You just stall with it for a couple turns and hopefully that's enough. So I can potentially see this being played. So yeah, just like some options. So I definitely think the extra deck could have seen like the most improvement, and maybe the main deck as well. Again, I never played this deck before in a tournament or like really much. This is like essentially all theory, but I think it did pretty well overall. Onto the side deck real quick, we have 3 Maxi. This for going second against something like Infernity. I don't think I ever sided it in because I just didn't play a ton of this like Wombo combo decks or anything like that. So I think I may have brought this in against Mermels going second. But yeah, gonna come up. We got 1 Fire Fist Bear on the side. Again, I think the Fire Fist cards are kind of mediocre, but I was siding 1 just for like, if I don't have really anything going on and I'm playing against Geargi, I can summon this. Again, Diamond Core obviously can't protect this, so this might just be worse than just the regular Koa'ki, but I had 1 in the sideboard if I need to. We had a Dark Hole, Mind Control. Just good going second cards. This is good against Hat and Geargia. And this is good at clearing boards. I don't know if I really used Dark Hole or Mind Control throughout the tournament, so I don't think I really saw these. Got 3 MST against like the, I guess, weird decks. I don't think this is particularly a great card in this format, but it could be good sometimes against certain matchups where they have like floodgates and whatnot. So not really a main deck worthy card, I don't think, but definitely good on the side. You got 1 D-Fissure, 1 Soul Drain, and 1 Macro. Again, you can bring these in against Mermel or just Grave Reliant decks. So Macro is definitely putting some work against Mermels until they top deck MST, and then it's kind of went downhill in one of the games. But yeah, it's kind of like what these are for, and your deck doesn't really need the graveyard that much, so you just bring it against those. The 3rd Trapstun, again, you can maybe put this in the main deck or just it can just kind of flex. And we played these were kind of like the last second cards I put in. Blackhorn Heaven, good against Geargia. I don't think I ever saw these against Geargia, but probably would have been nice. Again, you're not really setting a lot of back row, so between like the Trapstuns, the Reckoning Power, and the Blackhorn Heaven, it's probably pretty easy to pick them off with like their MSTs and whatnot. So I don't know if this is probably like the way going forward against Geargia. Again, you probably just want to make your deck as consistent as possible at killing your opponent. But yeah, and that was like the main thing. This deck was a lot of fun. It could definitely use some improvements, but I think going forward, this is going to be a threat in the format, just because it just really has a really good matchup into like the hat deck if it's going. And you can just really, decks are not really prepared for dealing with OTKs in this format. Like they're usually just trying to break boards and whatnot, or just there's like a lot of board breaking in this format. So I think Koa'ki is really good, or at the moment, just because people are not prepared to deal with like an OTK push. Like there's only like a couple decks that can OTK in this format. It's like Mermel can do it sometimes, and if your opponent's playing like Heretic Rulers, they can OTK. And Inferni can potentially OTK. So like all our decks are usually pretty slow in this format. Like Hat's pretty slow. They're just really reactive. So you get some turns just to perform like a OTK, and again, your whole engine kind of just like stops the hat engine in a sense. So leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys later. See ya.